All eyes are on Ondo as the Sunshine State is preparing for the November the 16th governorship election. Preparations are gathering momentum as the election looks unpredictable. This is Standpoint. I am Precious Amayo. Now, the National Working Committee of the ruling All Progressives Congress has set up a 9-man committee to oversee the primary election for Ondo governorship aspirants. This was disclosed in a statement issued in Abuja on Tuesday by the party's National Publicity Secretary, Felix Morka. The schedule for the primary was also amended, and the exercise moved to the 20th of April. Aspirants of the ruling All Progressives Congress have registered their readiness to battle the incumbent governor, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, in the primary election holding next month. Among the political parties in the state, APC has more aspirants than other parties. I'll be having two of the aspirants to join us on the program today, but with us now is a former national president of the Nigerian Medical Association, Professor Francis Faduyile. He joins us via Zoom from Ondo State. Good to have you join us.
Thank you very much.
All right, you're smiling. I hope I got that name right. You were training me, you were training me earlier how to get the right pronunciation. Thank you so much. All right, so let's get to the conversation. Let me ask you. We know that people are already picking up their interest forms and interest and nomination forms. Have you done that yet?
Yes, I'm going to the collection of the expression of interest and nomination form will end on 3rd of April, which is Wednesday. And as you know, Friday and Monday are public holidays. So I'm hoping to be there on Tuesday to pick my own form. Okay,
so you're picking your form on Tuesday. But let's look at the general issues around this particular election, especially for the APC. We know that there are a lot of people who are now saying that they have the endorsement of the former governor. Why is there so much controversy around that endorsement?
Well, sincerely, usually every state election, the incumbent usually gives direction on who will succeed him. And in this respect, it is not as unexpected if the former governor has given a nod to some of the people who are contesting or who are willing to contest to take over position after him. Unfortunately, we have a lot of us who believe that endorsement is good enough, and even if they have a body hug or a win, some of them may just think that is endorsement. But I can tell you categorically, as a member of the State Executive Cabinet, the late governor did not at any time state that he has someone he wants to endorse. In fact, at a particular State Executive Council meeting, he said that he has no particular interest on who succeeds him, that he is for everybody. And I think that is the one that I believe is the position of Mr. Rotimi Akeredolu, who was the SY state governor at that time.
But is it also possible that he had at different times also given his support to different people who are now aspirants today?
Well, sincerely, everybody who knows Arakuri Rotimi Akeredolu knows that he is a man of his word. If he stands by you, he comes out and he wouldn't have any reason not to say it outside. And I can tell you for a fact, if he actually had someone that is grooming up to take over from him, he would have come out long before he died to say that is his preferred candidate. And I can tell you categorically, unemphatically, that he said at a State Executive Council meeting that he has no preferred candidate. At that time, we have about 5 or 6 of us within the cabinet who are who are consulting to contest at that time. And I said, well, he leaves the field open to any of us or any other person who is interested in succeeding him. So there is no way he could have done that in a secret area. I will not come out and say it publicly.
All right, so I understand that we have other guests now with us, even as we bring in also one of the aspirants. He is a former member of the Ondo State House of Assembly and also a former chairman of Osopadec, also former member of the NDDC board, Benga Edema. He joins us also from Akure via Zoom. Good to have you join us.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Just before you joined us, I was just asking Professor Faduile why there is so much controversy around this endorsement issue from former governor or late governor now, Akeredolu. Why do you think that there's so much controversy around it, with more than one person claiming that they have been endorsed by the former governor?
I do not really see much of controversy about this. One, unfortunately, the late Akeredolu is no longer alive to be able to verify or otherwise the endorsement issue that people have been peddling. And neither was it written in any testament or will or any document to say, oh, this is what he said when he was alive. So for those people whom he has spoken to or who insinuated that they were endorsed, it's between them and Akeredolu. It's no longer something you can enforce either in the People's Court or in the court of the land. So what we need now is that Akeredolu is no longer in a position to determine who his successor will be. The people that will determine who the successor of Akeredolu will be the party leadership and the Congress of APC in Ondo State. So it will no longer make any difference whether or not somebody says Akeredolu endorsed him or not. Since one, there are no testaments written in that regard, and two, nobody can enforce such even if they exist. So what is the relevance of that any longer?
Mr. Edema, do you think that if he had actually, or the former governor had actually openly endorsed someone, that endorsement will be valid today, even with the death of the former governor?
You see, for instance, let me tell you that I have said it on this channel some time ago that when
Right, a connection problem there coming from Mr. Edema. We'll move. Okay, he's back. All right, continue, please.
One of you will succeed me. And to the glory of God, I'm the only larger person in that meeting who has taken form and who has aspired. So I could have swear I've said Akeredolu has also endorsed me. In February of 2023, I also was with him and we discussed extensively on the issue. And that was the last time I had the opportunity of seeing him before he went to Germany, and the rest is history now. Therefore, if Akeredolu has spoken about it, it's not there for the remnant of the Akeredolu family, I mean the remnant of Akeredolu group in Ondo State politics, to see how best they can carry on with the desire of our late boss, Akeredolu, so that his legacy can be sustained. But that also depends on how the Congress of the party and the leadership of the party in Ondo State feel about the whole thing.
Let me bring in Professor Faduile back into the conversation. We're seeing a very high turnout of aspirants in the APC. 17 as it stands now. One would have thought that everyone would say, look, there is an incumbent governor, or let's let it be. At least maybe two or three other persons would have come out. But 17, why is that very high turnout of aspirants in the APC?
Understand is that the area that the governorship seat has been zoned to is an area we have highly highly intelligent and intellects. And it is important for us to know that if we want the best for the state, we should aspire to have the best amongst us. And every one of us who has thrown his heart or in that contest is very, very qualified. So I think the fact that we have that much number does not mean that we we have not done well. What I think is that the people within the party now have enough opportunity to see all of us and to choose the best amongst many of us. For the incumbent governor, he is also equally qualified as a true son of the South Senatorial District. However, if we have to choose, I believe everybody wants to choose the best. His best is good enough for us, but we can still have opportunity to present people who perhaps may have a better plans and better manifesto than himself. So I think it's good for us to have all of us come in front of the party leadership and the Congress generally, and let them look at all what we have in front of that we have professed that we want to do and choose the best. And it is going to be the best for Ondo State at this moment.
But some people will say it points to the internal challenges and crises within the party, rather than what you just explained.
Well, I mean, if you want to look at it that way, then it means that person is not very well attuned to what is democracy. Democracy is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. It means that the people must at every instance have opportunity to choose. And in choosing, you do not restrict. And if you are not restricting, then you can have as many as possible for you to choose amongst. And I think this is the great thing that we have about democracy. Restricting or subduing or stopping is not the best for democracy. We must have people who has that internal interest in leading the state to come and join and help us in getting the best for our state at this given time.
Let me go to Mr. Edema now. We're still talking about the high turnout of aspirants within your party, especially because 90% or 95% of them are from the South Senatorial District. As you all say, it is an unwritten rule, but you say that it is a turn of the South. Why are you not all lining up behind one candidate? Some say, look, it shows the division, especially with the rhetoric we've been hearing of betrayal, of certificates, of money bags coming to steal, steal the structure of the party. How do you react to this?
For instance, when I picked up my form about 2 days ago, I knew the numerous calls that came to me and said, you have given us hope. We thought you would not be able to pick up forms and we were disillusioned. But with you picking up this form now, you are giving us hope. And in the spirit of the New Hope agenda, I think I am set to go on. But all the same, you will recall that in 2023, October, November, December, there was so much internal wranglings within the party. The party was also almost polarized because of who succeeds Akeredolu, whether as acting governor or deputy governor, as the case may be. And you also know the case of the so-called Kaaba versus the present governor. So some of us are there to bring harmony to the party. But the way the party was, if people of us have not shown interest, the polarization will be so much that we cannot guarantee that we'll go into that election of November 16 as one team. But because the party was so polarized between two groups in such a manner that even up to now, we cannot guarantee that if either of those groups pick up the ticket, that we'll be able to reconcile ourselves. But thank God for people like us who are in the middle, who came in, and the people now have give a sigh of relief that they have people who can manage the party, who can harmonize all the interests of the party, so that we'll go into the election of 16 November 2024 as one team. So it's not anything out of place for polarization or for so many aspirants to come on, especially since we have this gentleman arrangement that it should go to the Ondo South, which, to the glory of God, a lot of our aspirant party leaders are adhering to. It's a gentleman arrangement, no doubt, but it's good for us. It breeds trust. So the party, as it were, before 27th of December 2023, was so polarized, such that the two contending groups, there's no way they could have gone into the election as one team. But thank God that some of us are in the middle, and we have created hope where there was no hope for the party members. And that's why they are happy that some of us have picked up forms and we are in the race.
Mr. Adema, have you really engendered hope? Because you are also from the same place as the governor. One would have thought that both of you would have met and reached an agreement on who should represent your hometown instead of, both of you who are from the same place picking up the form at the same time. Doesn't that also show that within that region where you are from, there is also a level of division?
Sir, the governor of Ondo State has all the 18 local government as his or her constituency. He has
Right, network challenges there coming from Mr. Adema. We'll try to reconnect with him, but once we have him, we'll let him continue his thought. But let me get back to Professor Faduile. In terms of those who are, all right, I understand he's back. All right, please continue with your thoughts. Mr. Adema, are you still there, please? All right, so let's go to Professor Faduile. In terms of those who are running, in Nigeria, we have not categorized aspirants into two different sections. We'll say some are, contenders and some are pretenders. And, people have continued to talk about those who are the real contenders in this particular election. Names have been mentioned, and 6 of them. Your name isn't there, neither is that of Mr. Adema. They say people like the incumbent governor, Olushola Oke, who is, also, they also call him, he has run at least twice or thrice. They say he's also a contender. Amayo Akinfolari is also mentioned. Isaac Kekemeke is mentioned. Wale Akinterewa and Jimo Ibrahim. But your name isn't there, and Mr. Adema's name isn't there as contender. How do you react?
Well, my reaction is simple. Number one, if you want to take any result, you want to see how far they have done their research about. The first thing we need to understand is that I can ask anybody to write an article in my name and just put people who they feel that it is a contender, it's a pretender, it's not a contender. Sometimes you underestimate some people, and at the end of the day, you will know that it is not what you see that comes out at the end of the day. For example, during the last presidential election, some people actually took some candidates as pretenders, and they shocked even some of the characteristic traditional big party states. So I do not know who did that research, who did that evaluation, and I do not know the basis in which they now come out to say somebody is a contender, somebody is a pretender. But if I may guess, we have the incumbent governor who is presently sitting in office. We have a senator who is presently sitting in office. We have somebody who has been contesting for 2-3 times, who is already known. And we have someone who was in the House of Assembly, House of Rep. Well, if that is the basis, well, they may be very wrong, because all those old glories may not determine how people want their candidate to be. People want fresh blood. They want fresh idea. You cannot put old things, and continue recycling old people, and you expect a different result. We have people who have been contesting for the past 16 years, and sincerely, what new thing is such person come to bring in? So we need to have a departure from the past. We need to set in a new generation. Those who are now 15 years to 20 years, they have seen world in a different perspective. And that is the way we are seeing things. About 10, 15 years ago, I'm not at this level. I have gone beyond this level. And I can tell you that there are so many things I have learned. There are so many mistakes I have made. There is so many experiences that I have garnered over the years. So I want to say that I do not know where they got their statistics from, where they did their research from, what is the population size. And the baseline is that anybody can go to the newspaper or news tabloid and have an article characterizing some people as pretender or contender or whatever. But the important thing is, at the end of the day, we want to see the best for the party. And I can tell you, if you look at my antecedents, if you look at what I've done before, if you have looked at how I have practiced this campaign up to this moment, I am not in any way afraid that I will clinch that ticket come April 20.
So in categorizing, I will tell you exactly what was said. But you know that as an aspirant who is looking to clinch the ticket of the party, you're looking to get the votes of party members. And as a candidate who is looking to become governor, if one progresses to that level, you're also looking to, your first guarantee for votes would also be party members. And this is what they have said. They say that you are not a serious contender, and it's one of the dailies. And they say that whilst you are passionate about this ambition, but you lack the political structure to drive this dream. What again is your reaction to this?
Political structure can be on the state of mind of the person who is writing that. I actually read that article on Vanguard newspaper, and I laughed when I saw it. I said, political structure, how? How has that person checked the political structure? For political structure, I have 18 local government coordinators. I have coordinators in all the wards. I am now getting people in the different units. The difference that I have with some of those people that they put is that some people have a lot of money and they are distributing hundreds or thousands of naira. And this is not what people want. We are discussing with them. They understand the situation. They know that the government house, Alagbaka house, is not for sale. It's not for the highest bidder. The people have suddenly realized now that they are not commodity that you can just buy over the counter and use at your own way. People have realized that at this particular time, they want a governor who is part of them, who listens to them, who feels how they feel. And it is important for you to know that Nigeria is undergoing a revolution. The revolution is coming. It started some few years ago. We saw a very big spike in the control, in the entropy within the system at the last general election. And I can tell you, the youth, the teeming youth, the large majority of people are now very aware that they cannot continue to sell their future. They cannot continue to say, take 5,000 and enjoy one meal, and they will start to suffer for the next 4 years. They have realized that they want somebody who is practical, who is pragmatic, who has integrity, who is compassionate. And I can tell you, it will be shocking to those people who have written those analyses, because they don't have any basis. They should have come out with the baseline of the basis in which they have gotten that, but I cannot see it. They said that I'm not a serious contender, that I'm a former Nigerian People Association president. And is that not a big position of responsibility that I have been, and I did very well. And we were able to, one of the things that happened during my time as president of NMA was COVID. That came into the world as a pandemic to the world. And you know, Nigeria is part of the country that was able to curtail it, that we do not have those catastrophes. What else do you want? Do you think that things can just come by luck?
Professor Fadile, I'm going to give you enough time. Just a minute. I'm going to give you enough time to talk about your pedigree and your track record. But I want to get to Mr. Adema. I understand that we have him now. Mr. Adema, you were speaking to why yourself, you and the current governor haven't come to a gentleman agreement, looking at the fact that, or considering that you are both from the same region.
Yeah, thank you so much. Like I was saying, I said the governor of Ondo State has the entire 18 local government as his or her constituency. The entire 203 wards as his or her constituency. So it will not matter whether I am Ilaje or from Ikale or from Odigbo. What is important is I want to be governor of Ondo State. When Akeredolu contested in 2016, more than 10 people came from our local government alone. But he still emerged from amongst the 10 against other persons from other local governments. So the people of Ondo State know the kind of governor they want, and it doesn't matter whether it's not a brotherly position, or it's not a position that's owed to a family or to a local government. Even though we have this gentlemanly arrangement that, oh, let it go to Ondo South. But the governor is governor of Ondo State, 18 local governments, and governor of 203 wards. So it doesn't matter. So we are all aspiring, believing that we have our manifestos to sell. And he may not share my own manifesto. I may not also share his. So I am telling the people of Ondo State what I'm capable of doing in the area of health, in the area of education, in the area of development in terms of infrastructure and investment, which is my key point. So how many of these
seem to be having these regular network challenges there with Mr. Idema. If he's there, Mr. Idema, let me just confirm again that you're there before I move to Professor Faduyile.
Can you hear me?
Mr. Idema, all right, go ahead, please.
Okay, so the vision I have can only be delivered by me, not any other person. So it's not about somebody's coming from my own clan. Does he share my vision? Can he see what I have seen? Can he deliver on the vision which I have seen? I doubt if anybody can. So the entire Ondo State is my constituency for the purpose of this election. And I owe the people of Ondo State that duty.
All right, so I also want to get your reaction to that report by one of the dailies in the country, mentioning 6 people or 6 aspirants as the actual real contenders, but your name is in there.
I doubt if that is the correct position because I read that Vanguard newspaper and my name was there. That is by the way. But 2, for you to say somebody is a serious contender, he has to obtain form. Only persons who have obtained form can be classified as a contender, which I have done. So where they get their information from that I'm not, although I have read Vanguard, if that is what you are referring to, and my name is there as somebody is a great contender and likely winner of that primary.
Your name is there as one of the people who were profiled, because they profiled all of the aspirants. But let me also, state what was said about you. They say that whilst you are a contender, but that you might step down if you're advised to do so.
Well, in 2016. When the late Akeredolu contested, some people came, they ranked him number 5 out of the aspirants that were contending at that time. And what was the final outcome? The final outcome was that Akeredolu won that primary and the general election. Last year, you also recall that there were some group of people who wrote that Obi was ranked number 1 in all the surveys they conducted. What happened thereafter in the reality? The reality was that Ahmed Bola Tinubu became the president and he won, or became a distant third. So people can come out with because some of these they are also sponsored, mind you, to be able to prejudice the leadership of the party to say, oh, this is the man on the ground. But they have also said something about me that is a reliable person and he's stable. And that attribute is good for me because that is exactly what we need in the party. We need somebody who's loyal to the leadership of the party, and we need somebody who can be trusted, who is trustworthy. And thank God that attribute of is reliable is also in what you are quoting. So exercise that, emphasize that, and that is good enough for me. By 20th of April, by the grace of God, we know who is reliable, who is a contender and who is a pretender. But I have obtained form, so I cannot go and burn 50 million naira of people's goodwill, or because I want to go and step down. That cannot be my lot.
All right, so we're going to take a break now.